Michelle Lang, and welcome to my channel, Karma of Ominit. Thank you for joining me here. Today we're going to learn about new moon ceremonies. Whether you're a beginner and absolutely have no idea where to start with a new moon ceremony, but you're just interested in learning about them, or whether you have an established practice already, I'm hopeful that this video will be helpful to anyone who might watch it. That experienced practitioner might get some new ideas that they haven't thought of or haven't thought of in a while to incorporate into their practice. I hope you're as excited as I am to delve into this, so let's get started. Now, ceremonies can be either as simple or as elaborate as you want them to be. So, if I wanted to do something really simple and didn't have a lot of means to be able to create a more elaborate altar like I have behind me that's taken me years to accumulate and to make what feels personal to me, I could just go out into nature and find a beautiful, inspiring place. Maybe take a steno pad and a pen to use for my journaling. And something as simple as that can be made into a beautiful new moon ceremony. Or we can do things more elaborate. Look into using stones and oils and set up our altar. We can choose things that are more specific to a new moon and only use them during the new moon. Or we can look at the month that we're actually in and look at where the planets are, or what aspects are happening of the moon right now, and choose crystals or herbs or incense, colors that would enhance that specific moon that we're in with the intentions that we're setting. Or we can look at just the intention we're setting or the situations that we have going on in life, and we can choose items that revolve around that will help to strengthen those kinds of things that we're trying to accomplish. So the first thing we're going to do is create a sacred space. Like I said, as simple as going out in nature. For me, a sacred space in nature, what really calls to me is being up in the pines with a creek running by, sitting next to it with my journal, or often for me it's taking my camera and taking beautiful pictures of nature and setting intentions with those pictures. So the first thing when you choose the space for your ceremony, whether it's outside or whether it's inside your home, you want to set aside a space. It can be as small as a closet, or it can be as large as a room that you want to set up for your ceremony. Bring in any items that inspire you. Think about appealing to all of your senses. Make this the most enriched experience you can have. So think about things like candles, incense, crystals, religious objects. So like statues, or you could bring rosaries or mala beads, anything that's spiritual to you, a piece of jewelry that's important to you. You could put pictures of family, of teachers, of spiritual leaders or guides that you have, pictures of ancestors, those kinds of things. Anything that will bring you inspiration, or people that you want to bring into that sacred space. Maybe you're looking for guidance from your mother who's already passed on. You could put a picture of her up there, bring her into that space, ask her for her guidance in helping you. And then don't forget about music, sounds, things that would enhance the atmosphere that way. Now, after we've created our sacred space, the second thing we want to do is purify and cleanse that area. So, especially if it's an area that maybe we've used for other things, or maybe we don't have access to that area ongoing long term. And so each time that we set it up for a new moon practice, we want to clear out that space. There you go, Lily. So one of the things we can do to purify the area first is we can use a sage smudge. So I have a sage smudge right here. You can light that and use the smoke as you're going around and think about it, removing the negative energy. One hint that I just got not too long ago was to open a door or a window and let all that negative energy float out back into the universe and let it be reclaimed to be repurposed. So besides smudging, I did speak in another video about the fact that you may not be able to be around smoke, or there may be people in the house with allergies or reasons that you couldn't burn sage in the house. You could use essential oils. You could either use white sage or clary sage, and you could use those. You can make them into a mist and mist the room, or you could use them in a diffuser to do exactly the same thing we're doing with the smoke. Why sage? Sage is the herb of clarity. It helps us to change our perceptions, and it opens us up to new experiences. These are things that are really important during a new moon because we're setting intentions during that time that we want to come to fruition. And so having our minds and our souls open to change and open to looking at the experiences that may come between now and then that change maybe the way we visualized our intention to begin with, and be open to that. And then the other thing we could do to purify the area is we could use incense or a candle, or we could just walk around with the intention of clearing the area, visualizing all the negative energy being released from the area. Oftentimes I like the incense because you can even use like a burner or something like this, and you can walk around with the smoke coming out and brush it on to the area. So that's used a lot in many religious ceremonies. A lot of Catholics, you'll see them using the incense. Buddhists use incense to clear the area. So now we've cleared the area, but what about me? I'm going to be coming into the area, so how do we purify our body? There are different ways that we could do that. Some of the ways that are most common is like to take a bath, to get yourself ready for the new moon ceremony. And you could put in flowers or essential oils or salts, things to pamper yourself and envisioning yourself washing away the negativity and bringing new light and positivity to the intentions you're going to set for the new moon. You could also make a tea. A tea is a great way. You can choose just your favorite herbal tea, or again, look at the herbs that you're using. Maybe there's an herbal tea that really matches with the intentions you're setting for that month. And take some time and slowly sip that tea and imagine it as it's washing through your body, cleansing your body, purifying yourself, getting in the best place that you can be to be your best, highest self. Then after we purify our body, we want to invite in those things that we want to be a part of our space. I already talked a little bit about the pictures of like bringing in someone that we might want. And maybe if it's my grandma, I have a beautiful jewelry piece of my grandma, and I could put that on my altar to help invite her into my circle, invite her influence, help her to know that I still look for her opinions and help from beyond. Invite in angels, helpful spirits, ancestors, spiritual teachers, whatever you consider the source, be it God, the universe, some higher power. The next step, or the third step that we're going to do, is express gratitude. None of us like it when anybody comes to us only when they need something. So to put yourself in the right frame of mind and to recognize the things that you already have and be grateful for those, we want to express heartfelt gratitude. Say it out loud or say it in your mind, but really feel it. I feel it in my chest, but wherever in your body that you feel that gratitude just exuding from your chest, I'm grateful for the things that I have. for the opportunities I have to be in a place that I can practice spiritually the way that I want to. The fourth step is intention setting for your manifestation. So we're setting our intention at the new moon, hoping that it will manifest through the full moon. You want to write something down. Many of the modern teachers have taught us very well that if you don't write it down, it never happened. Brings to mind when I work in the field in EMS, and that's what they say on our reports. If you didn't write it down, it didn't happen. So write it down. But how do I write it down? Write it down in a present tense statement, as if it's already happened. Be really clear about your intention. Like, I release the fears associated with things I am unable to control. So it's in present tense, I'm saying it, it's happening right now. Then write it down at least twice. And later on we're going to talk about things that you can do, but one of the things is to burn your intention. You could burn it once in a ceremony, or you could burn it every single day through the full moon. So if I'm going to burn my intention, I probably want to write it down in a journal, and I actually like making several copies of it. I'll put it in my bathroom where I get ready and brush my teeth in the morning. I might put it on the fridge, wherever I feel comfortable to put that. The next step then is the fifth step, which is visualization. So I've come up with my intention for my manifestation. I've got it written down. Now I want to really visualize it, really see it happening. So the first thing I want to do is get out my intention, and I want you to read it out loud. Read it out loud 3, 7, 21 times, as many times as you want. Say it over and over again with conviction until you really believe it, until you really feel it, until you really see it. What kinds of things are we talking about when we say to visualize it? It's not just visualizing the statement in my head. It's, what does this look like? What does it look like physically? Where am I? What does it feel like physically? How does it feel mentally, spiritually, emotionally? Feel it, see it, smell it, touch it. Spend as much time as you need during this phase to really have a clear picture and intention of what you want. The next step, or sixth step, is to connect your intention to an object. Now, this object can be anything. It can be as simple as writing it down on a piece of paper. Then, like I said, you could burn that piece of paper. I could enhance that by adding herbs to that, like, say, for instance, cinnamon. Cinnamon always brings speed. So if this is something that I'm really looking to happen speedily, I could put a little bit of cinnamon down in the bottom of the bowl, read my intention out loud, light it on fire, put it in the bowl, and as the smoke's going up, visualize it, my intention going out to the universe, and that believing that all things will become in alignment for me to be able to achieve my goals. So I could take jewelry, any piece of jewelry that I could wear. It could be as common as a wristwatch, although that doesn't work as well for me because I look at it all the time, but I don't necessarily associate it with my monthly spiritual practice. It more reminds me of what texts are coming in for work and that kind of thing. So I like to choose something a little bit different, but it could be any piece of jewelry that you wear. Like, for instance, this mala here of lapis, if lapis was significant to what I wanted to do that month, or if it was something I wanted to wear and it brought me inspiration. And every time I look at it, it made me think of my intentions for the month. So it could be any crystal. And again, I just talked about the lapis lazuli like in my mala, but it could also be a crystal like a lapis lazuli point or any other gem or crystal. I really like using lapis a lot because lapis is a stone that I think fits for a new moon really well. It brings us inner truth. It will stimulate our spiritual awareness and growth. It'll increase our psychic abilities, works with dream work, even helps with psychic attacks. It actually recognizes a psychic attack, it will block it, and it will return it to whence it came. So, protection piece for sure. It also quickly reduces stress and brings deep peace. So, a really good stone to use with a new moon, although you could use any stone. You could use a candle, incense, tea. We talked about using herbs, so I could make little tea bags with the herbs that I wanted to use that would help me. I could make essential oil products, and there's a plethora of things I could do here. I could make a spray, or I could put the drops on a bracelet. I could make an inhaler so that I could just open it or inhale it, or I could just use the essential oil bottle itself and inhale it once a day as I set that. I like with essential oils to choose 2 different oils for a new moon because I feel like a new moon has 2 parts to it. So the first part of the new moon, or the first thing I think of, is the cleansing and clearing, because we want to cleanse and clear so that we can set our new intention. But when we cleanse and clear negativity, we also then want to protect or nourish. So cleansing oils or herbs might be like sage, lavender, lemon, pine, eucalyptus. Those would all be great cleansing herbs. And then a protecting oil or herb would be something like cypress, frankincense, juniper, sandalwood, or violet. So you could choose 2 of those oils. Now, I'm going to talk about 4 of those oils just to give you an example, because these are like my go-to oils for new moon. The first one's clary sage, or you could use white sage as well. Sage is the oil of clarity. So with a new moon intention, to be clear on my intention, that's going to really help magnify. It helps to change our perceptions. And a lot of times when we're looking at intentions to change things within us, being able to change our perception often is necessary in order to make that change lasting. It also opens us up to new ideas or experiences. The second one then would be lavender. And of course, these are both in the clarification or purification category. Lavender calms, relaxes, balances both physical as well as emotional. The nice thing is lavender has quite a few documented studies, and being in Western medicine a majority of my life, I really love now being able to take some of my alternative medicines and have some really good documented studies. So one of the studies out of University of Miami documented that lavender, and this is in aromatherapy, so it's smelling the oils, it was documented to improve concentration and mental clarity through inhalation. Another study out of Osaka University says that lavender reduces depression and reduced mental stress and increased alertness. So those are 2 studies that really show us that lavender is doing the things that we want to accomplish for our new moon. Then when we move down to nourishing, fortifying, we're looking at the cypress oil is the one I chose because that's really a classic new moon oil. It's cleansing and grounding. It provides a good atmosphere for decision making and instills inner strength and confidence in us, which are important aspects of setting our intention and really visualizing it to come to fruition. And the last oil that I want to share with you is frankincense. And frankincense, of course, increases spiritual awareness and promotes spirituality. So it's always a good choice for any of the spiritual ceremonies that you might do. Some of the things you could make with the essential oils, I already mentioned. A roll-on, or I could make a bath, just putting the oils in the bath. One of the things that we did with an object last month, because it was a flower moon in May of 2020, is we made rose beads, and that's taking rose petals and mixing it with water and then making rose beads out of it. Original rosaries were made that way. And then we took the dough and we put it out in the full moon light, which was actually a super moon, the third super moon. So really feel like those rose beads would have a lot of the full moon and the new moon. So I could use one of those rose beads now, and I could use that for my intention, and I could even keep it in like my little medicine pouch, or sometimes you might have a little locket you could put a little bead in or something. Using another step that you could do to even increase the visualization is, let's say I'm using a candle. I could use just any old candle. If I was doing a longer intention setting, or maybe this was the beginning of the year and I knew this was going to be an intention that I wanted to go longer than even the lunar cycle, I would want to get a candle that was going to burn long enough for however long I wanted that intention setting to be. Then if I wanted to go a step further, I could choose things like what color of candle and what color corresponds to the things that I'm trying to achieve with that. I could look into the scent of the candle, or I could even make my own candles and look at herbs that would go into that, or crystals that I could put into that candle as I burnt it. So that could take a simple candle into a whole different level of a ceremony if I wanted to go that far. Then the seventh step is gratitude. We started out with gratitude. Before we close down, we want to come back to gratitude. But this time, I'm thinking of like expressing the thankfulness for the guidance that I've received during this ceremony, the love and the support from those that are around me, that are helping me. And ask them to help you, to always be your highest self. And ask them to help you with anything else that you're in need of at the time. The last step, step number 8, is be open, trusting, and believe. Believe that the universe is putting things in alignment, that the powers that be are working on your behalf, doing the things that are needed for you to be your highest self and to thrive and to grow and accomplish those things that you want to accomplish. Your manifestations may not unfold exactly as you had visualized in your visualization. That's why this step is so important. Be open. Be open to the lessons that are unfolding around you. Does it change the way you see your intention? Maybe you're still headed towards that intention, but the time isn't exactly right. Or the way you thought it would come about doesn't happen exactly the way you thought. Believe that things are happening in the right time and in the right way. Set reminders to follow through with any daily or weekly activities that you've committed to. So if you decided to burn a paper every single day, have those slips of paper ready, keep them in your sacred space, and then every day, it's usually best if you set the same time of day every day to do it. If you just attached it to a piece of jewelry and you're just going to think about it every time you see that jewelry, you wouldn't have to set a time every day. I do find that sometimes I get distracted in the modern world and I'm not always as aware, and it may get to the end of the day and I go, oh, I didn't think about that all day long at all. So there's great apps that you can put on your phone, like mindfulness bells. That I've got one that I set that so it's during my waking hours and I tell it how many times to ring, but I tell it to do it randomly. So it's not on a set every 2 hours or anything like that. And just that mindfulness bells help me to remember I'll do a couple of deep breaths and it'll remind me to look at my piece of jewelry and connect again with that visualization that I had. If I had a plant or a tea that I was going to do every day, when I was watering that plant, I'd think of my intention, or drinking my tea. I hope that's been helpful for you, and that by breaking it down into the 8 steps, you can see that anyone can create a new moon ceremony. Now, my channel, I've just actually started with 4 subscription boxes that I believe have items in them that would really help us, especially following the lunar cycle, to set our intentions at the new moon. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing an unboxing of each of those 4 boxes every month. And then I'll choose 1 or 2 items from each of those boxes and show you how you can use it in either a new moon ceremony or a full moon ceremony, or even other practices that you might have, like a meditation practice, and how to incorporate those items into your life. So look for those and look for the additional videos that'll come. When you see those unboxings, remember to leave a comment if maybe there's an item that speaks to you. Or if there's something like that I spoke of today that you're interested in hearing more about and want me to consider for a future video, please leave it in the comments. I'm more than happy to help with all of my viewers to reach out and find tools that will be most helpful for you. Thank you again for coming, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste. With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord, and have joy and a world at peace.